What are your preferred practice methods that you feel help players to improve?
It's a fairly wide-ranging answer as well. The game's played on a golf course, so the more you play in the realistic environment, the better. That said, some players can play well and practice on the golf course and then suffer a little bit in the tournament. Maybe they go about their game a little bit differently and panic a little bit or try to force things a little bit. And then you have some players who, with really good modern ranges these days, spend too much time in a range and get their head into hitting one single shot from one single place too often, which isn't really like golf. But that said, a bit of that can be fine as well, hitting from the same place and grooving one kind of shot and developing some feelings, that's fine as well. So we've loads of different practice methods. We do try to make it as close to the real thing as possible. An example would be like that. If we're training short game, we might have half a dozen balls and just play them all from different positions around the green. Never play from the same place twice. And the more you kind of train yourself, this one shot is the next thing, and that's it. I'm not going to play again from this place, or keep doing it until I get it right. Because again, that's not like playing golf. Play your shot, accept it, move on to the next one. And we've got all sorts of skills tests we do with the squads around to keep their scores around these skills tests. Well, they'll have different challenges around the green, playing from difficult lies and bunkers, playing different lengths of wedge shots, having 5 shots to the same target from 5 different positions, playing from rough and semi-rough and down slopes and all sorts, and just try and keep the creativity in there so that each player is tooled and set up to face whatever shot he's faced with on the golf course. So we try to train as realistically to the golf course as possible. That said, if a player wants to stay in a nice range for a while, hit a few balls from the same spot, that's okay too. It's not going to do any damage, as long as any of these things aren't overdone too much. And again, it's down to each player to understand what works best for him or her. Some people are quite happy spending 5 or 6 hours at the range and hitting balls, and they have a great time doing that, and that helps their game. Some players think they should be doing that, and their game gets worse because it's just not them. Other players are better going with a set plan, saying I'm going to putt now for 25 minutes. I'm going to go and chip and pitch for half an hour, hit some long shots, and then I'm going to go. Or whatever day it is, or whatever facility you're at, go and play a few holes. They're much better at getting there and leaving, and their head is fresher and they feel better about themselves. So again, whatever suits you. There's so many different ways you can go about it.
And just to go back to a term you used, a skills test. I suppose the word test insinuates to me that you're going to be keeping some sort of record of score. Could you give me an example of
Yeah.
how you actually keep a record of this?
Yeah, so we might an example of, say, one chipping shot is we have, say you start off with a budget of 50 feet and you've got 6 holes to go around. And let's say your first shot goes to 10 feet. Okay, now your budget's down to 40 feet. You might go to your next shot. You hit it to 2 feet. Okay, you're still within your budget. And you go around and try not to blow your budget. Or we might do it the other way around. We might start from 0 and play another 9-hole challenge. And the challenge is to get around the 9 holes in as few feet proximity as possible. So that the player that hits it as close wins that challenge. Or it might be down to a player just keeping scores for himself on an individual challenge where he's got, say, a 120-yard shot, and he's hitting 5 balls to that 120-yard shot off from different lies, maybe semi-rough, slight upslope, slight downslope, flat. Or it might be playing from the same position on the fairway all the time and just hit to different pin positions, hit 5 different yardages. Again, keeping proximity totals, so he might be playing from the tee box, say 5 shots to 5 different wedge distances, say between 80 and 130 yards, and keep up a total of his proximity that way. And doing these different challenges, you get to understand how a player might have a difficulty with a certain distance, maybe taking a little bit off his 52 wedge or his 60 degree or whatever it is. You get to find out a couple of weaknesses that may need to be worked on a little bit through doing these challenges. The players like doing it, and they keep a kind of a record how they do in different skills tests and try and improve their proximity, and similar things with putting as well. So yeah, there's always different games that you can put in there. And we've got a suite of about 15 or 16 different skills tests that are there for the players to be used, and they can use them. Some of them around their wedge play, some around their chipping and pitching, some around putting. So we're going to focus a bit in that areas, and there's other skills to do in the long game as well.